Yes, ma'am.
I retired from the Board of Elections. Actually, I walked out of the Jefferson County Board of Elections. Early voting, you would not believe, accepting people to vote that were not registered, but they said, well, they showed up, they had no ID, well, I'm Joe Schmo, I moved from here to there, I'm still allowed to vote. Was not allowed to expunge deceased people.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea what fraud was. I quit. I said, I can't be a part of that, knowing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in the thick of it, and you go to your superior and say, hey, this person is this and that and has voted here, and that they're absentee, they would not hear it. If it was Democrat, you take it anyway, and that was it. So if you don't think there's corruption in our Board of Elections, you're daydreaming.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Oh, stop it.
What district is that?
It's
Jefferson County.
No, what? Oh,
Not the-
specific district.
The whole thing.
Oh,
it's something that
Down there.
when we're done with the actual audit and the new processes go into effect, that's going to be fine. Anybody can still come and vote. Joe Schmo could come off the street and vote. The difference is when his vote is cast, it's not going to be immediately put in these are our counted votes. It goes into a holding facility. And that holding facility is really a data check system. And I'm going to have 5 or 6 different databases checking to make sure that Joe Smith is Joe Smith. Well, how do I get those records? There's all types of records the government has that I will have access to. I will make sure that that person at that address, that person, if not, guess what? That vote goes to the side.
But will it happen before the election ends, before that person becomes elected?
Yes, it will be instantaneous.
Okay.
It'll happen as the votes are tallied. So the ending vote, the unofficial vote that everybody sees on election night will be already, the process will already have done. It happens all the time. It's a database merge. It's easy to do. Trust me, it's very easy to do. And like I said, if they want to be dishonest, go for it.
Will they
I
be
encourage it.
persecuted? Will they be prosecuted? Will
What's
they
that?
be prosecuted?
Yes, because everybody has to sign a registration card. If you're going to vote, you may not have to show me your ID, but at one point you have to sign a registration card. And on that, they admit, under penalty of law, I submit, go ahead, sign your name.
Mr. Secretary of State Stephen Knipper, question for you. Do we have any examples of people going to jail for doing that in this state? Is
No.
there an example?
See, please. Now, I visited Bandera, Texas. I was so shocked a couple years ago. And I'm old, I'm a baby boomer, but I met people whose family went to prison because they were in an election system during the Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they wanted him in, and they were signing up dead people and doing it. They got caught. 15 years in prison, his family got. And I said, why has Obama, when they showed on TV that people were selling the votes, they went up to Washington State and went into the Hispanic neighborhood, they weren't speaking English very well, and paid them and took votes, and they are, voting in dead people. Why had those people way back in Lyndon Baines Johnson time? Why'd they go to prison 15 years and we are not doing our laws? We are not enforcing the gun laws. We are not enforcing the laws we already have and putting people in jail. Now,
I attribute it to you can go to a wings place and get boneless wings. That's kind of the backbone. There is none anywhere.
well, it scares me because I know Obama got in with this kind of voting. And I'm telling you, for years I was a military wife. None of us even cared about voting because we knew it was trumped up. And this is how we baby boomers felt. And we did not get into our politics because it was all crooked. We knew what the government did. We learned from the Vietnam War what our government is and what came out about that.
Right.
We knew how Nixon, what you crazy person, the stuff that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't we enforcing the laws?
Well, I think what we're seeing is because of nobody's enforced those laws for years and years.
So it's just okay. You overlook it.
No. It's just the opposite. I think your frustration is at what everybody in this room is feeling and everybody nationwide. They just need a voice and somebody to actually speak that and then follow through on it. It's that simple. It is that
Yes.
On that,
It is.
Mr. Stephen Knipper, Secretary of State. I like the way that sounds. Are there any states around us that have that same record of nobody going to jail? Are there states that surround us, or are there? I mean,
Indiana prosecutes very much so. Ohio prosecutes.
is
I
it
would
yearly? Every year it happens.
You know,
Oh, yes.
Every year.
I'd love to know the statistics all over
But
America.
the thing I'm going to
about
do, as
this.
far as John shared the audit process with me, so we have all the legality questions and answers, and we can answer the federal questions. I'm going to share with him our back end process, which is an IT. I mean, I worked in the country's largest hospital network in the world. I was the guy in charge of the hospital security. I could be wrong once. I'm pretty fluent on how to make sure a process works to its end. We have a process that I'm going to be putting in place, and I'll share it with every Secretary of State in the United States if I have to. It will do that very same thing. It will do a back-end check as they come in. Your votes are going to be counted. Yes, your votes will be counted. However, they'll be scrutinized first, and they'll make sure they're legal votes.
It's got to be done.
Yes, sir.
Okay, for Dr. Simon, I've looked at the voter registration in the county for the last 20 years. And it's been, I can tell you, the worst district in the state for voter fraud is the 32nd district, where Phil Moffitt got elected. Now, the solution for all this is like Phil Moffitt, we've got to have a lot of turnout.
Yeah.
In order to win these elections. Okay, I was after looking at the voter database for the 32nd, I was expecting Bill Moffitt to lose, but he won, and he probably won by a greater margin than what the votes showed. We're going to probably have to have at least 53% of the vote in order to win this election.
Oh, boy.
There are so many people, even in Jefferson County, that have general delivery as their mailing address. You would be very surprised. Now, especially, there's an E911 law that says every house has to have a physical address. There is no reason for general delivery anymore, except to, vote and not show where you live.
There's some people in our roles that actually call a park bench in a park their home.
Yeah, well, there are homeless people.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean,
And that's
to have a
fine.
physical address. But you're right. There has to be a way to identify this particular person to this particular location. I'm sorry, go ahead. What else?
And
was there?
so we need to make sure that we turn out our people on election day.
Yes.
Will there be a notice at the polling places about what you've been saying about if you vote without a legal right to, that you will pay for it? I mean, something, I'm wording it wrong, but you know what I mean. People won't know, and they might not do it if they knew what was gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you sign your registration card, that's what you're signing.
Yeah, I know.
It is a contract. Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea.
A lot of people do.
That's a good idea. I can tell you that if you hung a sign like that in the voting booth, you're going to catch a lot of flack from people that are saying you're disenfranchising voters. I mean, I would do it. I personally don't care what people say. I would do it because you're right. If nothing else, you're offering one last chance. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure? It's like a pack of cigarettes. Right there on the side. Don't do this.
Does Kentucky throughout the state have voter ID?
No, sir. In the state of Kentucky, you don't need any ID.
I only have to use my driver's license every time.
Right.
Yes, they do. Well,
Legally,
but people in
legally,
mind,
the state's
and we even
law
looked it up
is
with
you
our
don't need any
address, and I
ID.
showed mine.
And actually, the
showed my
worker, the
driver's
person who's
license.
doing the election process can actually validate for somebody and say, yeah, I know them. They're welcome to come in.
Right.
So, I mean, like I said, it's wide open. It's open for business. But there are ways to shut that down. Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am.
This voter validation you're talking about only won't be this year, only after you get elected.
Right.
Not this year.
This year, we're gonna be under the old system. So bring out your friends. And your friends' friends. Yeah. Leave those that have passed away in the ground. Anybody else have any other questions? Sorry for talking so long. Yeah, sorry for talking so long, guys, but thank you for your support and thank you for everything you're doing, and vote early.
And our last speaker is John Austin, who is speaking for Matt Bevin.
I can tell you that Matt is running his legs off right now. He's scheduled from 6 in the morning till midnight all over the state. He's on his phone when he's in the car. The man is working hard. And I've tried to keep up with him before, and half of his day puts me down in the bench for the next 2 days. He's a hard-working man. He's got a lot of energy. So sorry I can't be here with you today. I will tell you, I've known Matt for about 2.5 years. I know his wife. I know all 9 of his children. I know his little brother. I know his 2 best friends. And I've checked him out pretty thoroughly before I invested a lot of my time, my life, my money, and trying to get him elected. Matt is what he says he is. I've checked that out thoroughly. As all these scandals have come up in the news, I've also researched those things, and I've gone down to the documents and found out what the truth was. I've talked to Matt about those things, so I'm convinced that the man is what he says he is. He's an honest man. He's a Christian. He's a family man. And I think he's got a great plan for Kentucky, and that's why, like I say, I invested my time in getting him elected. I hope that you all had a chance to go to Matt's website, mattbevin.com. On there, he's got a blueprint for Kentucky that lays out in a lot of detail what he hopes to do to improve our state. There's 7 things on here. I'll go through them just briefly. Wants to enact pro-business legislation, right to work for Kentucky. We're the only southern state that doesn't have that. We're going to die economically if we don't get there. Second thing is modernizing Kentucky's tax code. It irritates the fire out of me that everything I own has got some little tax and registration. I paid $30 tax on my canoe last year. I got to get a registration sticker for it. I don't know why. But they nickel and dime me to death in the state. We've got to stop that. We've got to modernize the tax code and make it friendly for economic activity. Third thing is going to take our state down if we don't fix it is the pension crisis. As you know, Matt started a fund working out of his basement that eventually grew to $5 billion. He understands the pension business. He understands how pension funds work. He knows the math. He studied this a lot. Resolving the pension crisis is going to be hard. It's going to be painful. And we have an obligation, a legal obligation to pay for pensioners. So we've got to fix something going forward or it's going to bankrupt our state. Right now, I think our current obligation is around $20,000 for every man, woman, and child in the state that is owed to the pension system. So you're going to have a default or bankruptcy or a massive tax increase if they cannot fix something. We cannot afford to kick it down the road 4 more years. We've been doing that for too long. Fourth item is reforming Kentucky government. Matt says he would like to take us back to about 2007 staffing levels before we had a lot of expansion. There are some hundreds and hundreds of boards and commissions and appointed jobs all over the state. We have what I would just call bloat in our state government. That is aiming to trim that back in practical ways, just like any business would, to help reduce our tax burden. Fifth one is modernizing Kentucky's education system. I'm going to think that a group like this is probably not very enthusiastic about the Common Core. Thank goodness my kids are out of high school, but I've seen it and I don't like it. So Matt is very much interested in school choice, defending people's right to educate their children as they see fit, be it homeschools, charter schools, what have you, and coming up with a common sense alternative to Common Core. I think we've been drinking that Kool-Aid for too long here. Sixth one is improving Kentucky health care. As you know, as a result of Obamacare, our current governor entered into a disastrous relationship with the United States government that has us, I believe the system lost $50 million last year when they were audited. Really what we've done is shifted a whole bunch of people into the Medicare system. We've got to come up with a state health care plan that works. It gets people Medicare without bankrupting our state.
Medicaid.
I'm sorry, Medicaid. Yes. Didn't mean to say Medicare. And the last item is fighting the federal government overreach. Someone earlier mentioned the war on coal. Obviously, that's been the backbone of our state for quite some time. The fact that we've got coal gives us extremely cheap electricity, which drives industry here, heavy manufacturing, aluminum smelting, even the server farms that Steve Knipper was talking about. You wouldn't think it, but a computer server farm consumes an enormous amount of electricity. And that electricity you can get for 4 or 5 cents a kilowatt hour to draw jobs to our state. So I want to fight the federal government overreach in all areas, but especially things like the war on coal. We need to keep the government out of our lives, get them back within the constitutional boundaries of free Americans. So if you go on Matt's website, again, it's mattbevin.com. It's got the blueprint for Kentucky. It's pretty extensive. It's pretty specific. Some very good stuff. I can tell you a little bit about Matt as a person. If you have any questions about that, like I say, I know his family and his friends. I've been downtown marching and praying with him in pro-life rallies. He's been involved in that movement for many years. It's surprising the number of people that you meet that say, oh, I met this guy 5 years ago before we ever declared for office because he was the chairman of the Red Cross, or he was in this pro-life thing, or I was in a Bible study with him, or he gave money to this charity I was supporting. He's been doing a lot to help people for his whole life, and he was just not very public about it. And I think I've seen that there's not much difference between his public and his private life. He's the same guy, at midnight when you're driving in the car as he is, on the campaign trail as he is at home. And he's a good man. If children are any evidence, I can tell you I've been around all of his 9 kids on long days, hot days, and they are absolutely delightful to be around. They're very mannerly, they're polite, they're all very sharp and intelligent, and even the ones that were adopted from a foreign country, you wouldn't even know it to hear them talk. Their English is perfect, and they're obviously very well-raised children. And I give a lot of credit to his wife, Glenna, for that as well. She homeschooled them up until this year. But wonderful kids, wonderful family, and I think that reflects on the kind of man he is. Do you have a question?
The newspaper keeps talking about not paying his taxes.
Yes, ma'am. There's a couple of things I've looked into on that. The big one is there was a Bevin Bell company up in the Northeast that had been in his extended family for. Okay. The Bevin Bell company had been in his extended family for over 100 years, and it was facing bankruptcy. So they called Cousin Matt down in Kentucky, and they said, will you come take over this company? Well, he did. When he took over the company, it had years' worth of tax liens against the company, which he paid out of his pocket, got the tax liens cleared, rebuilt the company, put people back to work. So when the Conway campaign says his company was a big tax avoider, that was a tiny bit true, because the company he bought had tax liens. He paid them off. He didn't incur the tax liens. He paid off debt from the past. So, yes, ma'am.
Why isn't he running ads on TV? There's so many other ads against him, but we've not seen anything.
Well, he is running ads, I can tell you.
Repeat the question.
Oh, she asked why he's not running ads on TV. He is running some. They're extraordinarily expensive. Jack Conway and the liberal money flowing into the state from other groups has got an enormous advertising budget. It costs around $250,000 to put an ad on the air for 30 seconds. It'll have a statewide reach. So very hard to compete with that. And, what we found out is if you put an ad up to refute one lie, they'll make up another lie that you have to spend your money on.
Yeah.
And you can spend all day chasing that. He's tried to stay positive. He does have some ads up. His wife, Glenna, is talking about it's a good ad. There's a lot of things on the internet. You will see more as we get down to the wire here.
Why didn't you put one up about taxes? Tax lien?
That stuff has been out there for a couple of years, dating back to his Senate race. It's been disproven by. But like I say, it's a question of money. So it would cost millions and millions of dollars to put up as many ads to counter that. And Conway has virtually unlimited money to spare. So I think that's the problem. If you could write a 6 or 7 figure check to the campaign, we could get a lot more of them up. I'm sorry?
Say that again.
The Republican Governors Association is a PAC, and they have come back into the race. Earlier in the race, they spent $3 million to help Matt, and they're coming in the last 10 days to spend $1.6 million on advertising. So,
everybody knows about the traditional marriage amendment issue that kind of happened recently. The Supreme Court said, let's make up laws, forget the states' rights. We're going to change your society around. And basically, I went out there and, they brought up Kim Davis. I started looking at a little something called the Constitution. I started looking at the Kentucky Constitution. I put it out on Facebook. I had people who were lawyers and other people debate me, and they could not. I mean, honestly, they had no real answers at all. Okay, our state's sovereignty has been really put under check, and my question is Governor Bevin going to stand up on issues of our state's sovereignty, because we know the federal government wants to destroy it?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, if you look at the blueprint for Kentucky, item number 7, fighting federal government overreach, is a big believer in the 10th Amendment. I think really, out of all the people that could have run, the man's got a backbone to steal. He doesn't owe anybody anything. He hasn't taken significant contributions from any special interest group. He will go fight, and he will exercise the sovereignty of our state granted by the 10th Amendment. Yes.
Anybody thought about anything like marches right before the voting? We Fred Freeman on the Tea Party Commission. We need to get out the streets. And Rick Cowan, you might know something here too, but Pastor Stevenson and the pastors in the West End are fighting for school choice, for charter schools. And I'm thinking of all these young people that don't care anything or don't pay attention. My kids that don't have, my grandkids that don't participate in politics. If they knew what Matt Bevin wants, which is charter schools, free choice, homeschooling, what you said, all the different choices, private schools, church schools, if they realized that Matt could help us get that, could we march with Pastor Stevenson's group that's already in the West End and help all of Jefferson County get choice in education and improve our schools?
I mean, I'll tell you, this is a decentralized campaign. It has been from the beginning. If you want to have a rally, if you want to have a march, if you want to make your own yard sign, drive around the back of your pickup truck. So we've had a lot of things like that around the state. And if you go to mattbevin.com and you understand his message and you are not misrepresenting it in any way, go for it. I'd say Louisville is a Democrat stronghold traditionally. We've got 120 counties in the state. Usually there's only 3 or 4 of them that will go Democrat in a presidential election, and Louisville's one of them, Lexington's one of them. So now Matt is from Louisville. He's got a lot of connections here, so I hope we'll do well. He's been campaigning a lot in the West End. Brother Rick's been involved in that, so he will probably do better than most Republicans in Louisville. I don't think he'll take the county.
Yeah, I see a lot of Conway signs.
Yeah. Conway's from here. He went to St. X, part of the Democrat administration here. But Louisville, Jefferson County is definitely a Democrat stronghold, but we will chip away at that as much as we can. And that's very, very strong in northern Kentucky, and try to make sure that the message gets out to both ends of the state as well.
I didn't know much about Jack Conway really until about 10 or 12 years ago. I've learned a little bit all the time. But I never hear anyone say a nice word about this guy. Anybody that, when his name comes up, people twist their face up. And, so I don't know what he's done, either his track record or what it really sounds more like, people recognize someone that doesn't have good character. Because, there's nothing specific, it's just,
There's not a lot of enthusiasm for him.
Right, and it's possible, it's very possible that we can pull this thing off just with a lot of prayer, and if everybody will get out and vote like we're saying.
We'll take it to the street.
This isn't in regards specifically to this upcoming election in the state, but I've asked this question a number of times and nobody can tell me. Who makes the decision about our presidential primary election to where Kentucky doesn't get a choice time it gets to our primary? Last time, all of the candidates have been eliminated except Romney, time it got to Kentucky.
Yeah, we are doing something different this year. This has nothing to do with the governor's election or Bevin, but the state Republican Party has voted that we're going to have a caucus this year. And we're going to, it's going to be in March, so we will be relevant. We'll get all the candidates through Kentucky to
where we get an actual choice.
If you're a registered Republican, you can show up for the caucus. There's going to be what they call mass meetings. In fact, I'm going to be running one of them in Eastern Louisville, so you might see my face again. But,
okay. because it's been so unfair. We've not had a choice.
And they did that on purpose to try to make Kentucky more relevant. By the time we have a primary in May, the choice is made, So we're gonna do, this is experiment this year in 2016. We're gonna caucus in March.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to also mention, just because I was thinking about Jack Conway and stuff. Number one, we think about issues like industrial hemp and getting our think about issues of industrial hemp and getting our economy going and stuff like that. And basically, Conway is the only reason why we're not getting that going. He decided, as Attorney General, to not allow those, even though we had all the laws passed, not to enforce it, or actually no, keep enforcing and stuff. But basically, when I was talking about the marriage issue earlier, he came out on TV crying when it was just a state marriage amendment that he was supposed to force. He said, I'm not going to do my job, cry, cry, cry. And then what does he do? As soon as the Supreme Court made their decision, he said, we're going to enforce this to the full extent of the law. And that's what got, Kim Davis in jail. So in other words, he's one of those types who says, I don't have to follow the law, as the Attorney General, but you're gonna take everything we throw at you.
And it's a good argument to take to the street when you're knocking on doors.
That's right.
Another question,
Okay. Yeah, this is the last one.
Last one? Yes, ma'am.
Does he have any new ads coming on TV before the election? Because I really do think that this, and people that don't know any better, it has hurt him with this tax thing, and he needs to be very vocal about that, because that's something that people, that's the only thing people will see.
Yeah, the campaign is committed to close to $1 million ad buy for this last part of the election. But I think a lot of the people who see the ad on TV and are confused by it are probably not the people going to the polls anyway. People are asking, if anybody has taken 5 minutes to go to mattbevin.com in the last 2 years, all the documents are available to refute the tax claims. They've been out there for years. Politifact.com. There's a link on there that tells you to.
I wouldn't have thought of doing that, but I think a lot of the normal citizens wouldn't think of doing that, and we have to keep that in mind, because there are a lot of Democrats that are angry with the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
But when they see ads like this, they're not going to switch. But if he counteracts that ad, they may.
If you could give the campaign any more money in the last few days, that would help boost that advertising.